Hello, hello. It is your coach, Carla Nicole. Welcome, welcome. Going to see here if we have. Let's take a look here, make sure I get him on. Hello, Mr. Seals. Welcome, welcome. Can you hear me okay? You're looking frozen. Let's see if you're good. Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Are you there? Can you hear me okay? I don't know. It's looking like the Wi-Fi is doing a lot. Not sure why. But so welcome. Can you hear me? Are we all in here? Let's see. Hmm. Anybody on, if you could let me know if you can hear us. I don't know if he's having some connectivity problems. Let's see. If you're on here, can you give me a thumbs up that you can see and hear me okay? I'm having issues with my guest, so I'm trying to see if he can see me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. It
Okay,
was not connect for some reason. I don't
that's
know what was
something.
going on.
I don't either.
This is, man, the Mercury retrograde stuff, man. I don't know
It's a
what's up.
lot. It's a lot. Welcome, everybody. So I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for the thumbs up because we had a lot going on for just a second. So, welcome.
Yeah.
If you don't know who we are, I am Coach Carla Nicole. This is Satori Seals, and we wanted to welcome you today. We were having a conversation earlier, and we thought that it would be a good conversation to kind of dive in and share and talk about some stuff. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Coaching Matters. Please share the channel. Please subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Make sure to share this video because we are having some fun. Welcome, that people. You brought my beautiful attention that some gentleman was concerned about his lady that he was involved with. So why don't you tell them who you are and then let them fill them in on what you sent to me earlier today?
Oh, well, yeah. So I'm Satori Seals. What's up, y'all? Yeah, the video that I sent, I think it's been circling around for a little while, but it was a guy, they was friends, and the guy basically got a promotion, a new job opportunity where he was going to be making from like 50 grand and he's going to jump up to 300 grand a year. And I guess he
Right.
was with his girl for like 4 years or whatever. He told his best friend, but he was apprehensive and he was like, "Yo, I need to do a loyalty test." And
Mm-hmm.
so they did this loyalty test, And when they did the loyalty test, the guy said, okay, his friend said, okay, I'll call you back tomorrow. I'll come up with something. So he came
Right.
up with something. He came with the lottery ticket, like a fake lottery ticket, like you actually won. And I guess the
Yep.
scratch off shows that you made 500 grand. And so he told his friend,
Mhm.
he said, well, what's that guy do? He said, well, if you do this test, see what she does when she wins the money. Put the money in her hand, put the opportunity in her hand. And so
Mhm.
he did that. And so I guess when he put a thing on whatever, and she, got the ticket and won the ticket. Then he has, he asked, hey, babe, did we win anything? We win $20, $5 or anything? And she
Right.
said, no. She didn't say nothing at all. And then he told his friend, I recognize she made a phone call. And I guess she called her sister or whatever, or a friend, and was like, yo, is this real? So I guess she screenshot or whatever. She said, girl, it is real. And then she said, okay. And then she told her, like, well, I'm out of here. And so they were engaged and they were planning on to get married. And just a long story
Mhm.
short, that once she got the bank, when she felt like she was winning a 500 grand, he was no longer relevant to her. And she
Right.
bailed out. And it was caught on the phone. So yeah. So I sent that video over
Right.
to you. Kind of thought that was kind of, of course, I was chuckling, I was laughing, at that shit. So
Well, so to piggyback off of this whole scenario, this is not just a scenario that's rare. This is a scenario that's common where if we shall be honest, there's some people on the planet that are opportunists. They just are in relationship trying to get what they can get, if you know what I mean. Either they want money or they're wanting something, you have, and it's not really even about you being of any value to them. It's just what you come with. It could be your lifestyle. It could be your celebrity. It could be anything that looks
yeah,
good to that person or that person sees as something that they can't acquire on their own. So they see you as a benefit. So what do? They come up with a way to be sweet, nice, and kind. Now she didn't do too bad, but
she had a
did
4-year
she?
run.
Because remember what I said. I said, well, this is a great coaching moment for people to pay attention to, especially gentlemen. I always say men oftentimes have a gut feeling inside that they know that this in a relationship, he's thinking that everything is fine. But yet, if you notice, he went to his best friend when he was getting ready to get a huge financial gain. And then his gut feeling, or should we say his first mind, was, I don't know. Maybe, maybe I need to loyalty test this woman because something in their 3 to 4 year relationship
Right.
kind of made him think something isn't is with me. Not necessarily is with me. It's what's it's
Yeah. I mean, it's apparently, that there was some clue or cues or something. And I always say a lot of times, men are very discerning. But what we get caught up in it, we'll just bypass what we already know. And that's what a lot of times we hear when things jump off, men be like, yeah, I already know, man. I already know. When you get around men talk, they're like, yeah, it's not hard to get.
You guys have a man code. Just bring it out, Seals. It's
No,
the man code. You guys have y'all silent conversation.
but most time, unanimously across the board, it's not hard for men to get to the conclusion, like, yeah, I already know, man. Like yeah. And so this is one of those.
Right.
This is
Right.
one of those highlights before it got bad, right? So he was already feeling it,
Yeah.
and he's already looking like, I'm about to get this $250,000 jump. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so, like you said, there was obviously some subtle clues. There were certain actions that was
Yes.
always there. And see the thing about men, and it's not like, and women watching. It's not that men were being suspicious. That's the unique thing about men. A lot of times women are suspicious, but a lot of times men are just sitting there. They're going with the flow. They're not
Yeah.
caught up on it. But what begins to happen is she does some things, right?
Mhm.
She did
Mhm.
something a little off center, and he might
Mhm.
not even really hold it against her. He just kind of like, okay. But then it's like you start to see these small little occurrences, and they might be very
Yeah.
spread apart to the point where it's not really a pattern. I mean, it's not an evident pattern, but
Right.
uh, but when you look at it in a broad scope, that's what happened with men. You're gonna make a decision. You're like, okay,
Right.
there might not have been frequent occurrences of this little signal here, but I know these pieces are here, and now
Yes.
I cannot make a major decision without getting confirmation on what I've already been acknowledging.
Yes.
The seed of possible disloyalty can
Yes.
cost me a lot if I go take on this contract making 300 grand. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Well, it's gonna cost you a lot more. It's gonna cost you right. It's gonna cost you a lot more, yes.
Yeah.
And I've been doing a series. I don't know if you've been able to kind of keep I know you're a busy man, so you're always on the go, but I've been doing and creating a conversation around the cheerleader effect is what I call
Yeah.
it. Well, we're both a part of the Living Soul um, guidance system. So I talk about inside of this conversation I'm having with men the importance of understanding the cheerleader
Yeah.
effect and the cheerleader persona. Now, mind you, there's three other personas that I
Right.
have not even touched on yet, but I'm just lightly explaining to men the importance of understanding the cheerleader persona.
Important. Yeah.
And what I explain to men is that, you know, cheerleaders are women that are going to draw the man because they're going to draw him in because they're very uplifting, very encouraging. They're going to bring him so much joy that he's going to find himself moved by those attributes that a cheerleader gives in his presence. However, what I saw in this scenario that I think is very key, and I don't want to lose sight over that, is that he knew
Mhm.
that it was wise on his end to test her loyalty in the event that he happens to have a significant financial gain. Now, the trick of this that was unique is that he didn't say it was him, but he said it was her. What that shows a man in the loyalty understanding. And now, just to throw this out here, I do have a collection on Patreon for men called the Loyalty, which is T, the Loyalty collection on Patreon, explaining in detail even more about these type of scenarios. But anyway, I wanted to throw that out here. So become a member over there at Patreon also. So what I'm saying is a lot of times men have an understanding that the loyalty has to be tested. It's not about the money, it's about the level of care that this woman has for me with money or without money.
And it's the
Here's
staying
what's
power.
true. Cheerleaders, I have been explaining in my different videos about the cheerleader effect. Cheerleaders cheer you on when you get the score, when you get the points on the board, when you win. The cheerleaders are applauding, cheering, and all of that. That's when they are there. That's when they are more likely to be excited or in your corner or giving you encouragement. So it's vitally important that we let men know that he wanted to test her in her win. How would she place him in priority in her mind
That's
in
the
her win,
yeah.
not in his win? Because when she wins, is it a unified win or is it just you won? This is key for men because men don't ever really put the woman in the winning place, and nor do women. Women oftentimes look at, oh, he wins, we win. Oh, my happy wife, happy life. Of course. Never do they ever think or imagine that it could be them with the win. Is he in the same consideration? Or is he shoved aside and let me go get the real life I really want? Thanks for the win and all, and you were great for the time being, but now that I have all the money and I have all the celebrity or the fame or whatever, now I can just, because now I have now, and you're not even thought of. Oh my goodness, he was such an afterthought after I won. Men, pay attention. This is a even if this isn't even an actual scenario, I believe it was, but even if it wasn't, even if this was fictitious, still pay attention to the lesson. The lesson is, how are you considered when she wins? Lo and behold, your woman or your wife or your lady in your tribe that you have, maybe they might win. Are you considered? Would she retire you? Would she tell you, babe, you don't even have to go out there. You can if you want, but shut it all down. I got you. You're good. That's it. Just come and, clean the pool out. You don't have to do nothing else. You've done it all. And when you have a woman that says, we won, now you have what, Seals? A team player, right?
Yeah.
You got a team player.
You got a team player.
Let's
You
talk.
actually have a partner, and
Okay.
yeah, I mean, a partner's gonna think like that, right? If I won,
Right.
we
Yeah.
won, and if I won, we won. But sadly, especially when we
Yeah.
look at the narrative, that's just is very evident, and it's kind of like a joke that goes around too among men, and you see different memes that men, like I said, they're considering the whole, but the woman is like, well, my win is really for me. And that even goes to the attitude. You talk about the happy wife, happy life philosophy. Even when women would work, the mindset was, I'm
Yes.
working and this is my money. I'm not really working to really contribute or to even, so
No, it's to get my hair
yeah,
done so I can get my
yeah,
nails done. I
yeah.
got it.
So
You
so
can't
so
forget
this,
about my weaves and
yeah.
lashes and all of that.
So what you pointing
But
out,
let me say this real quick to help to alleviate. I know a lot of narrative has gone around that with women. They apparently believe, now this is just the mindset, just so you can understand. I know men don't see it, so they don't have all this dolly stuff up that you don't have to do all that. But with women, they oftentimes call themselves going to work to pay for their stuff because they're calling themselves trying to ease the expense off of you for them to do the purchases of their stuff that they have to, their upkeep, their phenomenon upkeep that they call themselves having to do. So a lot of times women will call themselves like, well, I'm just, I'm taking care of this for me. But no, is it that, or is it that you just want to work for you and you don't see yourself as a unified sync and merged relation? Which is it? Just so you understand, a lot of ladies think, Well, he doesn't even have to worry about my lashes and all that because I take care of it because I work. The- I'm just saying, this is the mindset of the ladies. They believe that, you know, because again, let me just also remind many men, if they haven't paid attention, is that a lot of times us ladies, we think that when you take us on, then all of our wants come with the price to be with us. So that's a part of the package deal. So
Yeah,
again, this is why it's not very amusing to a man, and most men would have that face you're making, but that's how they look at it. It's like we have stuff,
yeah, and
and we have to have.
yeah, and this is why you see all this back and forth. So I thought it was
Yes,
pretty interesting that his friend put the test and put the win in her lap because it's
absolutely.
important. It's definitely important because one of the most saddest things to experience is you think you're building with somebody and they're just waiting on a moment for them to get on or to get theirs or whatever, and not really even
Mhm.
thinking about really you like that. So I think
No,
what I love about it is that it highlights the difference in having a partner versus a mate. A
absolutely.
partner is locked in with you. A mate can play with you. You got playmates. A mate might not be really considered, really caught up in this division and the well being. And so it was just crazy how she was on the phone with just like, I'm okay, I'm gone. So this guy put in 4 years. They were she's a fiance, they're gonna get married. I mean that's
Mhm.
and I hate to say it, it's more than just a joke because that's if you get around a lot of circles of men and discussions and stuff like that, you hear things similar, what I
Right,
mean, around that. If a financial downfall, if a woman
right.
perceives that the income is questionable or things like that, all of a sudden, or she gets an opportunity, or she thinks just so I saw people in the comments, yeah, the grass, is greener, but so it is highlight a mindset that
Mhm.
that was you can't dismiss it because it's there. I mean, just call it what it is. It's
Now, what I
there.
questions about and their antics and women's personal gains after divorce. So we're seeing a lot of um I would say a lot of people's divorce settlements are being exposed. I'm talking about what the women are getting I'm talking about financially after the marriage is over. So we're seeing a lot of the um I guess we should say just a lot of, and a lot of people mention how it is extremely costly financially for a man, especially if he is the man that was a 100% man doing 100% of the financial care in that love affair and relationship. However, I'm not seeing a lot of, and you know me, I'm always going to wonder why that is. Because I will tell you, remember, you and I have had a marriage versus divorce from a marriage is two different things. And in a disillusion, you have to come to an agreement to where you're taking this, you're taking that. from a relationship, whether it's legal or one has financially from a divorce, that is not showing is if this has, I'm talking about countless. If this man is providing that is, and he is gaining all of this, why in the world would you make financial sense? What tells me is you weren't leaving the relationship because you cared about the person. You're leaving the relationship because of those things. This is why the things are being highlighted and shown on social media. It's being talked about how much somebody's getting and gaining. That's all crap. Because at the end of the day, if this person, if you gain that many things in the relationship while you were in it, but yet you had to fight to get it, then it shows me that the value of that person is showing in the items you're getting, but you're losing. It's not a win. Settlement, the divorce settlements are never a win. I don't care if you get millions of dollars, it's still a loss. Oftentimes get so swooped up about what somebody's gaining, but they're not. There are men broken. They lost their families. They lost their access. I'm talking about their 24/7 access to their babies. I'm saying men because more likely the man has to be the one to leave the family. So let's not get it twisted. Nobody's winning here. That's not a win. So stop getting, ladies, and I have a message for you. If you are so hell bent on wanting to divorce for those things, you better be careful because you're losing your family. And if you're not die hard fighting to make things work and be more and better function, then you're not thinking clearly. Because no divorce is done out of love. Disillusions are done out of love. We maybe just don't work and didn't work, but we can come to an agreement in this understanding we're not together anymore. That's love. Since y'all want to talk about love and I want a man. But let's look at it for real. That's not love. Divorces are never out of love. I don't care what they tell you. All divorces are not out of love, period. So I wanted to bring that up because he avoided going down this slippery slope of gloom.
Yeah. Yep.
Because had they had a child together, I don't think they did, but what if he would have had that with this woman that was just there for the money or the what potential she thought he would? She was banking on that lottery being him, being the win. See, that's what it really was. I'm just saying. Well, you men got to pay attention because these women, they don't care about you. And when she wins, is it a we thing or is it a me thing?
And that's why you gotta, men. I mean, just people. You gotta. Everybody's trying to rush into major contractual decision making, and you just gotta slow it down because
What would you
it takes.
say? I know I had. How much time do you think people really need to take?
I don't want to get into that because you know
I mean, just
you
ball.
talk
I'm
about.
not. You don't. We're not saying this is Bible. You just ballpark. How much time do you think someone really needs to take to acquire understanding about?
I mean, you're talking about. I mean, if you're going with the regular mindset that people are entertaining, you know, you at least got to put in 7 years. You got to at least put in 7 years because you got to look at the different ebbs and flows in life. Um, Now the problem is it's a lot doing with mindset. A lot of people don't view it as an investment, not an investment to have all this material possession, but I mean, if you're see, that's another thing too. See, we're talking if you got a building mindset, we're trying to go and we're trying to collaborate. We're kind of our missions merge. A lot of people
Mhm.
are just not going into that
Right.
mindset. So, but I mean, just to make it cookie cutter, it's almost
Mhm.
it's foolishness to make a major decision. You say in a lifetime, ideally, decision to embark um, on a path together, and you don't know their philosophy of life. You don't know if
Mhm.
it's private yours. You
Right.
know you don't understand. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of unearthed things inside all parties that probably
Yes.
won't come out until you hit
Absolutely.
certain stage in life. So, minimum 7. So I would say
Yes.
longer, but minimum 7. And if it's before 7, I'll say 5. And that's because y'all have the level of relation, the gravity with y'all. It kind of really makes sense. You know what I'm saying? But I know it goes against everybody. So, in 6 months, that's the dumbest shit to um, just with the climate where it is now. I mean, because people don't even have skills to partner. People don't have skills. People don't even know how to be resilient. I mean, let's talk about the virtue. People don't have the level to be resilient. So you got to see that. You know what I'm saying? As a man, in this scenario, I mean, I got to know what your resilience is like in the throes of life, and you might not be able to get that resilience. You won't get that insight. A year or 2 years or even 3 years in. Because you might be in a very good run in your life. This guy was together for 4 years, right? He was 4 years making 50 grand, and he got an opportunity to make
Right.
300 grand. But he had no insight
Mhm.
of her resilience, and
Yes.
she got an opportunity to jump
No.
up, and she bailed ship. You see what I'm saying? So you
Right.
still parlaying
Right.
with each other. 3 years is nothing. You know what I'm saying? You would think about.
Right.
So at minimum 7, minimum 7. Yeah, I would say longer.
And I like.
Go ahead.
And I talked a little bit to you earlier. Forever myth. Getting with someone under the assumption that they're going to be with you for a lifetime. And so I did want to touch on that just a little bit. Um, if we get away from getting so spellbound by love affairs and
Mhm.
relationships and get more realistic about what they are for real and pull out from the narrative that we're going to be together forever. I think it's imperative that we sit down and get real and understand that this person may not be who I see tomorrow. Anytime we are involved with people, there's an unknown side to them that we don't know. And guess what? There's an unknown part of ourself that we don't know.
Yeah.
So, with that said, we have to divorce assuming and putting so much pressure on another human being to commit to being in our life forever.
I mean,
Why not we why not we just step away from that and come to terms with being present and learning about self? being more self-aware and learning about our own personal existence and purpose, and then allowing them to have their own journey of that as well. And then if we do have a joint mission, spiritual mission, or we do have joint interest, we have things that we jointly like to do, or even if it's not something we both like to do, but we can respect each other's gifts and talents, allow them to do and be that. But stop putting so much pressure on a human being to be in my life forever. Let's just be. Because in this lifetime, if we just get away from trying to just take somebody and lock them into your life like that, because what that does, that doesn't allow for you to truly see if they're here because they want to be, or they're here because they think they have to be.
Right. And I mean, you can, I think, people are trying to look for a means of predictability. So I get that. Like you said, there's an unknown factor. But even the unknown factor, don't have to be scared
Yes.
if you really understand people's hearts. We're just not spending enough time with each other to understand the heart. When you understand the heart, then you can, oh
Right.
no, people are going to, waver and deviate, but there's still a base, right? There's a basis that they come from. A lot of us don't know each other's basis. So when things come up,
Right.
oh my God, they went way over here. Well, you haven't spent enough time to figure out what their base. That's what I'm talking about
Yep.
earlier. The unearthed parts of ourselves is there, and you can recognize it if you spend more time
Right.
up front versus going up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I was saying. Like you gotta have something like a
Yeah.
7 year period, and you're not like inspecting them. You're in the like I said, you're in the moment. You know what I'm saying? That's what I kind of capture in my book. Creating space. You know what I'm saying? Just you're in the moment. You're not suspicious or anything like that. You're just allowing what needs to be to unfold, and
Right.
from both of you or whoever's all involved.
To unfold.
Yeah, it just unfolds, and then you begin to see what is there. But you're not. You say you're not trying to frame them inside
No.
your box and how you really want it to look. Because
Yes.
then you won't get someone being a chameleon.
Right.
Talking about the cheerleader thing, and that's on a woman's side.
Yes.
That's what people do. They take on the role now because
Yes.
you're more advocating.
Yes.
You're projecting. I need a role, and uh,
Yes.
so people just they fall into that role, right? And so you don't want that.
And
You
I
don't want.
do love what you said about talk about, but you have a couple
Yeah.
of them. But you do have a why don't you share whichever book you want to talk about, the one you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, for one, that can kind of apply to everybody is one see your lover, and I talk about
Yep.
in that see is spelled SEEE, so there's threes in it, but the one part is just the it's talking about the space being able to just we come together, we're trying to, okay, do you match this? If the attractions are there, obviously the serious attractions there, just explore it, be open. You're not really trying to put your preconceived things. We just we do a lot. I always say, look at
Right.
children. Children see each other, little kids in the sandbox. Next, they resonate and they're playing, and we have to kind of get to that. We have to kind of incorporate that as a skill to just see it,
Right.
and that applies to this scenario. Is
Right.
And I give the dude credit. I think what prompted him to ask his friend was I allowed the
Mm-hmm.
space to be right, and in this space, even though it might not have been frequent reoccurrences, but
Right.
they were things that I had to get pinpoint. They had like a little thumbnail on it, right? It's like I put a little thumbnail, and now we look at the opportunity and measure against those seeds of actions.
Mm-hmm.
I can't loosely. assume that she's really all in with me. And so you
Yes.
don't come to that space of that gut, like you told me earlier, that gut feeling or that inquisitiveness if you haven't allowed space. So
Right.
I think in his scenario, it's funny, it's like she bolted, but I
Hmm.
think because he allowed space in their interaction for that 4 year period, that he knew before I elevate, that's the other part I talk about in the book, before I elevate this relationship,
Yes.
let me evaluate. So let
Yes.
me evaluate this right here. Not to be controversial, not to be difficult, not to be anal,
No.
but it has
Yeah.
to match
Yeah.
where it's going. And some things, some behaviors, some questionable things that I've seen at this level of interaction, and then we add this level of interaction come right here. That's questionable. That's not really aligned. And because he allowed the
Yeah.
space to be there, it was allowing him to be able to question it or explore it or try to challenge it, right?
Yeah.
And so I think
Absolutely.
that's what
Right.
happened. So another part, and I know
Right.
I know we set for time, but the other part is another book I talk about, brother wrong woman, and this scenario reminds me of what I refer to as the short-sighted woman
Okay.
because she has a
And kind of go and explain a little. Let's let's talk a little bit about how is a woman short-sighted, or I know how, but I mean, sighted woman is.
well, she's first of all, she what's in sight for her is just her immediate gratification, her immediate posture. That's really at the forefront. She doesn't really see outside that. But she'll cheerlead, like you're talking about, she'll cheerlead and take on a chameleon role, right? And I'll cheer you on.
Right.
But
Yeah.
in terms of what your partner's vision is, right? And the partner in this case, this guy's talking
Hmm.
about building with you, but she wasn't thinking about building with you. She was thinking about going along the ride. There's a difference. And so these are the subtleties of a short-sighted woman. You know what I'm saying? She looks like she's riding with you because she's cheerleading you and all this stuff and everything, but she's not vested. So short-sighted women are really women
No.
that are not vested in the we. Of course, definitely not in the we. And the choices
Right.
from immediate perks. It's all short-sighted stuff. Am I be able to get a car?
Right.
Oh, you getting 300 grand. So am I going to be able to get a Range Rover in the next year or something like that? They start having these short-sighted requests or these short-sighted motivations, like, oh my God, we could do this or we could do that. Oh my God, baby, right? The fake cheerleader part. Oh my God, baby, that's great because we can do this. She says we really come from the aspect of what the perks she can get. So short-sighted women really don't see outside of perks. They can't. And this is a classic example because his friend, what he did was he put the perk in her hands and let her get the feeling that she won. That's a perk. And she could not even see the guy she was with. That's a short-sighted woman. She got the perk, she saw the perk, and totally forgot about him. So yeah, so so it just I think it's a lot of key lessons, there's a lot of good little insights in that, to pull out. But that's how I see it as it relates to the books. But say that again. Say it again. Say that again. Could your thing's breaking up. Say it again. When she saw that perk, that's a short-sighted woman. That is a short-sighted. Yep. Say it again. Say it again. Say it again. You're the. I think your signal's jamming up. Say that again. So it look like her signal is your signal. Your signal. That whole. I think we probably heard what you say about purpose. But yeah, everything's got jammed up. No, she was just along the ride. I mean, yeah, 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 yeah. So I think you're still. We probably need to cut because I think your signal is still kind of is interrupting a lot of stuff. The key points you're making at the very end. Yeah, it's I mean, you can hear it, but it's nah, just everything that's what's up, man. For today, what we got. Uh, just I think it's important for people to kind of step back and quit just going with the regular narrative of stuff. Because I mean, this is a good example of why you need to slow down and allow what the heart is to each other to show itself, and that takes time. Sometimes you can't jump into something in 3 or 6 months and get that full understanding with quote unquote an ideal lifetime commitment. The consequences, if it hits a wall, is going to be more bearable on you versus it doesn't equate. It doesn't measure out properly. The math ain't mathing. So that's what I'll say on that.